Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose Alcaton, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. I have personally been suffering with PMDD for over 19 years, and I published my dissertation directly towards the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who are suffering with PMDD. So although I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is an approximately 1 in 20 women, makes you want to break up with your partner every single month right before your period, I also provide services and counseling services and programs specifically designed for partners for what they are going through with being in a relationship with someone who struggles with PMDD. There are so many aspects that affect PMDD relationships, whether it's PMDD rage, whether it's intrusive thoughts, whether it's just you not getting your needs met in your PMDD relationship and feeling like breaking up is your only option. I am here every single week to give you my signature trauma transformational tools that are going to help you and your PMDD partner to get through all of the stress that is going on in your PMDD relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with, then you need to join the PMDD Power Couples Group Counseling Membership. This is when we meet every single week. We go over what is specifically going on in your PMDD relationship, and you'll get a chance to get my customized PMDD counseling transformational tools. And then also, if you need a private session for you and your partner, you can go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those PMDD relationship reset sessions. This is where I have private sessions with you every single week, every single month. We're checking in, we're mapping out your PMDD relationship. So let's get into today's episode. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the things that keeps you stuck and suffering in your PMDD relationship, and this is word curses. So previously I've spoken on this and I've called it hurtful words as being something that is really in your PMDD relationship. When you get into your luteal phase and you get into these fights and you get into these arguments, there are hurtful words that are said and it keeps you stuck. And the reason why it keeps you stuck is because PMDD grabs hold to everything that you're saying. Regardless of whether you mean it or not later on, those words stick. And so what I've been seeing a lot in my practice is that, clients are telling me that even though their partner has apologized, they're still thinking about the hurtful words that have been spoken to them and the nasty words that have been said and even just saying that you want to break up. And I think so many times we get desensitized to these hurtful words and we don't recognize the impact that they really have on us in a PMDD relationship. That's how I noticed that it was a word curse, meaning something that's spoken over you and it's carried with you day after day, month after month, year after year, and you're still thinking about what was said, and it's so deeply rooted and it causes you to not be able to move on in your PMDD relationship, because even if your partner hasn't said it in a month, they haven't said it in a week, they haven't said it in 2 months, they haven't said it in a year, you're still holding on to it. And it's because it's a word curse. And so a lot of times we're not recognizing what they are. And I know it sounds like really witchy, but word curses they're just negative, harmful statements. They're spoken over the relationship. They're saying we are not compatible. We shouldn't be together. We should break up. This is a statement that you're making, and subconsciously your brain doesn't know that you don't mean it at the time, that you're just in your luteal phase, that you guys are just stressed and having an argument. It's taking it as it's true. So when things start to happen in your relationship and you're wondering why you can't move forward and why you keep thinking about it, it's because you place that word curse over your relationship. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to help you break that word curse over your PMDD relationship, because I'm all about freedom. I'm all about not being stuck, and not just, like I said earlier, not just talking about the hurtful words that were said again and again and again and re-traumatizing yourself by talking about them. We're going to break them today. You're going to break free so that you can get out of the realm of keep thinking about what your partner said. Did they really mean that? Because I think that's a lot of times that's where the hurtful part is, because even if it's said in anger, there's a part of you that believes that they meant it. There's a part of you that is like, you know what? Maybe I am manipulative. Maybe I am a narcissist. Maybe we're not compatible. And so when you get in your follicular days and you're seeing things clearly and you guys are talking all lovingly and you're saying all these nice and amazing things, your partner is almost to the point where they can't believe you, because it's like, how can you say these wonderful things about me. And then on the flip side, you say these nasty things about me. I've been in relationships so many times that have been like that, where I didn't know. I did feel a little bit manipulated, because I'm like, you just called me all these names. You just said all these nasty things about me. You attacked my character. And then the next thing I know, when I'm back acting loving, then you're like, oh, I love you. You're so amazing. And I'm like, I don't know which one is true. Like, do you believe that I'm a piece of crap, or do you believe that I'm amazing? And so it causes you to like kind of stifle your partner from even saying and doing loving things, because you start to not trust the things that your partner is saying, because it can go so the opposite. And this can be for both partners. When I'm in my follicular days, I was so vocal about how I could see so clearly the things that I loved about my partner. And I would be so vocal and say, oh my gosh, you're such an amazing partner because of this, this, and this. And I can list out a million reasons why they're amazing. And then I would go into my luteal phase and see a list of reasons why we were not compatible, why we shouldn't be together, all these things. So just as strongly as I felt that they were amazing, is just as strongly as I had these negative emotions and feelings and words that were spoken. And so there was a lack of trust, and it was kind of like taken lightly. Like I would be like, how come we're not getting closer by me saying these loving things? And it's just because your partner starts to not trust you. They start to feel like they can't trust anything that you're going to say, because as quick as you can say, I love you, I think you're amazing, the same way that you can be like, I don't think we should be together, we should just break up. And that's a very vulnerable place to be, because you don't want to be put in that situation where the blanket is just ripped from underneath you, where you don't know if your partner's going to say that they're going to break up the next day. There's a lack of security there. And so when these word curses are on you, it really takes a toll in your PMDD relationship with emotional triggers. So the first thing is, it can trigger you. Every single time a negative word is spoken about you, about the relationship, that is causing doubt. Like, I don't even know if we should be together. I don't know if we're going to make it. Like, I remember one time an ex told me we were working on an issue. And I was like, we really need to work on this, because it's really going to make our relationship better if we just work on this. And they literally said to me, yeah, I'm going to work on that, but I don't know, I don't know if the improvement is going to come while I'm with you. Like, basically, I don't know if I'm going to be with you by the time this issue is fixed. And that was so hurtful for me, because it was the first time that I had heard my partner at the time talk like we weren't going to be together. I was just like, what do you mean? Like, you don't know if this issue is going to be fixed while we're together. So after that, later on, he was saying all these nice and loving things, and I just couldn't get past the word that he said. I couldn't get past the phrase of like, I don't know if it's going to get fixed while I'm with you. And so I want you to really think about, because I'm going to work with you on this. If you haven't joined the PMDD Power Couples Group Counseling membership, I'm going to be basically doing like a working group, and we're going to be working through the actual word curses that are going on in your mind to break them. This is just an overview. But if that's something that you know that you need, you have these word curses that have been spoken. You've had things that your partner has said that you just have not been able to get over. You need to join that membership so that we can work through this specifically, so I can tailor it to your PMDD relationship, to your partner, to the words that were actually spoken and said. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes for that, or you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram, Dr. Rose _ in love with PMDD. But what I want you to really think about is, what are the words that have been spoken to you? What are the things? Because sometimes it's your partner has said some things and they haven't really bothered you as much, but then there's some things that stick. And I noticed for me, things that I was insecure about, things that had been said to me in regards to my childhood trauma, those were the things that really stuck with me, because it was confirming that bias. It was confirming, maybe I am this way, or maybe I am hard to love, or maybe I am all these things, because they were tapping into an unhealed part of me. And so it was an emotional trigger for me. Every single time I had these negative words, these hurtful words that were spoken, it intensified my feelings of shame, of feeling bad about myself. It intensified my feelings of anger. I felt pissed off that they were kind of calling me out. And then it also intensified my feeling of not being worthy of a relationship, because when your partner says negative things about you, it's almost like when a parent says something negative about you, this is supposed to be the person that's the closest person to you. So obviously, if they're saying this about you, it has to be true. They know the core of who you are. So if they're saying these negative things, if they think you're a narcissist, then you're likely to believe your partner. If they're saying you're manipulative, if they're saying you're selfish, if they're doing any of this name calling, you're believing them because you're feeling like they know me best. So if they're saying it, it must be true. And so the next thing it does, it reinforces that those feelings of shame and self-doubt. You constantly hearing phrases that your partner is saying to you, like you're impossible to love when you're in PMDD, or you're impossible to love when you're in your luteal phase. It can cause you to have really low self-esteem. You know, I've been on this journey for the past year of just rebuilding my self-worth because I had so much negativity spoken and positivity. So I will say it was a balance of the two. I had a lot of negative words that were said specifically about me and my character, but then I also had really positive things. But I don't know if you know this, cognitively, your brain will remember the negative more than it remembers the positive. That's why if you're hearing something negative, you almost have to reinforce it 5 times, cognitively, 5 times to reinforce one negative statement needs 5 positive statements in order to cancel it out. And 5 positive specific statements, not basic, like, I love you, you're great. No. It has to be very specific because you have to rewire your brain to believe the positive once it's been told one negative thing. And so a lot of times the next thing that happens is it creates a toxic cycle. When you start to just get really loose with speaking negatively with each other in PMDD, it becomes the norm in the luteal phase. Like you're having fights, you're having arguments, you're cursing, you're name calling, you set these boundaries of not doing it, but then you do it anyway. And so harsh words spoken over a period of time, it creates a cycle of blame and resentment, and it pushes you and your partner further apart. Because you're thinking, how can you say that you love me? How can you say that you want to be with me? And you're saying these negative things about me? Because it's solidifying it in your mind because it's happening every single month. Your partner is saying something negative about you. And so when they're saying something positive, you're like, you really don't mean that. Like, or you start to think, oh, you're just saying something positive because you're trying to get something out of me. Like maybe you're just trying to have sex tonight. So you're saying these positive things, but you really are annoyed with me and think I'm a piece of crap. Like I really trigger you and all these things, but now you're saying something nice and you start to question why your partner's saying something nice because you're so stuck on the negative things that they've said. And so the next thing that happens is it destroys trust. You don't trust anything that your partner is saying because when the words are used to criticize or cause you to feel less about yourself, you don't have any level of emotional vulnerability where you feel safe to be open to be yourself because you feel like it's going to be criticized. I can't be open. I can't really be myself because I feel like they're going to pick at me. This is when it comes to walking on eggshells. So if you haven't got my program, My Partner Has PMDD, Now What? It's talking all about walking on eggshells, the reasons why you walk on eggshells in your PMDD relationship. And when you don't trust your partner, I will tell you that there is a big lack of intimacy. I've been there before where I didn't know what to believe. I was so confused because of the word curses that were spoken, over me and the relationship. One day they wanted to be with me forever. And the next day they didn't know if we should be together. Like next day that I'm having to prove to them reasons why we should be together. And I was just like, I can't keep up. Like I had no safety, no security. I always felt like it was going to be questioned. I always felt like I had to prove myself. I had to be on my P's and Q's, as my dad used to say growing up. Like I felt like I couldn't just be a human and even make mistakes in and out my luteal phase because I was always going to be judged. And I was always going to be put in this corner of having to prove that we should be together, having to prove that we are a good, partnership, having to prove that I do love you and care about you. And when that's questioned because of the hurtful words, you care about what your partner thinks about you. And I remember getting to a point in previous relationships where I was mad at myself. I was like, I really wish I didn't care what my partner thought about me because basically my self-worth, my identity was built in what my partner said about me. So if one day my partner said, you're amazing, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me, I would feel so good about myself. And then the next day, if they said, oh my, and they're angry and they're triggered and they're like, you're a piece of crap, you're manipulative, you're selfish, I don't know why you're like this, you need to work on yourself, I would feel horrible about myself. So I was on this puppet strings of like, whatever my partner felt about me dictated my mood and how I felt about myself. And I remember saying to myself, I never want to be in that situation again where I'm so easily pushed and pulled, because that's a very codependent relationship. When I was getting to the point of rebuilding my self-worth, it had to be that whatever I believed about myself, that had to be what mattered, not what my partner thought. Not that, and not in a selfish, egotistical, narcissistic way where it's like, I don't care what you think about me. It's being so solid with who you are as a person that even when you're hearing the hurtful words and the word curses that are being spoken over you and the relationship, that you're not leaning into that because you're like, no, I'm an amazing person. But over time, if you've had these word curses spoken over you, these negative, hurtful words, specifically if your partner is saying the same thing, that's what makes you start to believe it. If they're consistently calling you selfish, if they're consistently calling you a narcissist, if they're consistently calling you manipulative, if they're consistently calling you evil or mean or rude or whatever the thing that they're consistently calling you or saying about you, you're going to start to believe it because you're going to be like, wow, they wouldn't keep saying this if it wasn't true. And so the next thing that happens when you have these word curses is you're literally manifesting negative outcomes in your relationship. When you keep saying stuff like, our relationship won't survive because of PMDD, subconsciously, you're creating that environment. You're creating that reality for your life. And that's why I always tell my private clients, I don't care if you're feeling horrible about your PMDD relationship, words have power. The things that you're saying about your relationship, you don't understand that you're creating a pact. You're creating a vow and saying, this is what our relationship is. Our relationship sucks because of PMDD. Because there's PMDD, like, we're not going to survive. When you're saying that, even if later on you get in your follicular days and you're feeling amazing and you're feeling like you can handle it, you're going to be facing a lot of obstacles because cognitively you've programmed your brain. Your brain doesn't know if you're being serious or not. Your brain, when you like say like, oh, I didn't really mean that, your brain doesn't know that. Your brain knows what you're just speaking and what you're declaring, and words have power. The things that you say, your brain is listening to you, and then you have that bias moving forward. If you say our relationship won't survive because of PMDD, or PMDD because you have PMDD or because I have PMDD, our relationship is always going to be horrible. We have something called the reticular activating system. And what that means is your brain is going to consistently look for reasons to confirm the words that you are saying. So within the reticular activating system, if you say that our relationship won't survive because of PMDD, or PMDD, because we have PMDD, our relationship is going to suck, it's going to start to make you focus on things that make your relationship suck. And are you going to have hard times in your relationship? Yes. But what your brain is trying to do is it's going to pick out all of those negative things, and it's going to filter out the positive. Because guess what? The positive doesn't lend to that negative word curse that you just put on it. The negative word curse of our relationship won't survive because of PMDD is what your brain is now focused on. So you need to be very mindful of the words that you're speaking about your relationship, because you can't take it back. That's the thing about word curses. You cannot take it back. You can't go back in time and say, even if you apologize to your partner and say, oh, how many times has your partner done that? Where they said something really, really hurtful, and then they come back and be like, oh, I'm sorry, babe, I didn't really mean that. And you forgive them in the moment so that you can enjoy the moment, but you're still thinking about the things that they said. You're still questioning whether they really meant it. Like, they can't go back in time and erase it from your memory. Once it's said, it's said. And I feel like we need to get to the point where we're really recognizing how powerful words are and how we cannot take them back, and how our words can create our reality. The words that we're saying, the belief that we have behind the words, are creating our reality in our PMDD relationship. And you need to be mindful of that. And if you've genuinely gotten to a place where you've been saying stuff that you don't really mean, and then you're like, you're minimizing it. Oh, I just said that because I was in my luteal phase. Oh, I just said that because I was in PMDD. Oh, I just said that because I was triggered. Oh, I just said that because I was angry. Just because you're angry, it doesn't give you permission to speak negatively about your partner or your relationship. I'm going to repeat that. Just because you are triggered, it doesn't give you permission to talk negatively about your relationship or your partner. You can be pissed off, but a lot of things that happen when you're in the realm of being pissed off with your partner, you need to really keep to yourself. You really need to keep it to yourself in a way of you're processing it, you're journaling it, you're having private sessions with me. You do not need to go to your partner and say these negative things, because the impact that it's going to have on them by saying it, you're not going to be able to reverse it. I don't care how much they pretend like it didn't bother them, how much they pretend that they forgave you. They're still thinking about it. They're still like, you can go have sex with them. You can make up sex. You can have an amazing trip. You can do all these things, and they're still going to be reverting back to the negative, nasty things that you said about them. And they're going to be like, yeah, we had a great time, but I can't forget the fact that they called me a piece of crap 2 weeks ago. That's a word curse. That is what a word curse is. It means it's stuck to you. It's stuck to you. You know how they used to say like white on rice? It's stuck to you because there's some part of you that actually believes that they thought that. And in some cases, maybe they thought it in the moment and maybe they didn't, and maybe you'll never know, but there's something in you that is like, man, that really hurt. It's happened with me so many times where they, partners have said stuff and I want to move on. I want us to not be in this place of fighting and arguing, but I'm still like, dang, that was below the belt. Like, that was harsh. That was mean. That was cruel. That was nasty. And then when you go into PMDD and you're thinking about like being with a person, you're kind of like, do I want to be with someone that's willing to say nasty things about me? I had to do that in my dating realm right now. And I'll be very open and honest with you. That's not something that I'm willing to gamble with anymore, because I know the power of those word curses. I feel like I was fighting against things that were said in my previous relationships, and I just tried to get over them, and I tried to not think about them. And I almost tried to make them not matter to me. I was like, I wish I could get to the point where they could say nasty things and they not really affect me. They not really stick to me. But every single time I would go in my luteal phase, it was kind of like I felt stupid. I literally felt stupid. Like, why would you be with someone who called you a piece of crap? Why would you be with someone who yelled at you? Why would you be with someone that cursed at you? I was beating myself up for staying in a situation where someone was, being a little bit verbally abusive. And I keep downplaying it a little bit. I will say a little bit verbally abusive, but honestly, yelling and cursing at a person, and just because you can't control your emotions, it's verbally abusive. And when it comes to premenstrual dysphoric disorder, if that's something that you know that you need help with, you need to get help with that. That's not something where it's not sustainable. Like, at some point, they're going to leave. And I talked to you about this on previous episodes. Like, as a counselor, I would never advise someone to stay with someone just because they have PMDD and be like, oh, they have PMDD. So, they're probably going to verbally abuse you, but just take it in stride, chalk it up to about, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. I've seen what that can do to an individual. Suicidal ideations, suicidal attempts, taking one's life because of words that are spoken. That's how serious I need you to really understand these word curses. You speak negatively about someone, about the relationship that they care about, that they're devoting their life to, and they're in the realm of suicidal ideations. They're willing to take their life off of things that you've said to them. They're willing to attempt to take their life over things that you've threatened them. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You haven't even actually done them, but because you've spoken about them, they're willing to end it all. So this is why I can't play with words. This is why I can't give you a get out of jail free card. This is why I can't give you a pass on saying, oh yeah, you can say hurtful words to your partner. They're just supposed to not be so sensitive. We are in an intimate relationship. Of course you're going to be sensitive. And I've been there. There's no shame. I'm not shading you. I'm not saying I'm any better than you, because I've been in a relationship earlier in my journey where I told my partner to just suck it up. I'm like, I'm in PMDD, stop being so sensitive. Like, I didn't really mean that. Or I've said those things and I felt horrible about it once I understood the impact of it. When I really understood how much I hurt partners by saying that, and making them feel like they should just take verbal abuse and just be okay with it because I have PMDD. Who am I? Who am I that I am so above you that I can talk down to you and then expect you to love me and care for me and be a supportive PMDD partner. Like, who are you? Who do you think you are? Just because you're with someone that genuinely loves and cares about you, and you've probably gotten in your mind that they're not going anywhere. Like, that's probably what happened is they said they're going to leave, but then, cognitively, you can actually think about it. And you're like, if someone treated me like this, like I would be gone. But then the fact that they're still here, like they're probably not going anywhere. And when you get into that level of pride and ego, your behavior reflects that. Like, when you're with someone and they're scared to lose you and they're willing to do what it takes to be with you, to make it work. And then, when you're with someone who you can pretty much treat them like crap and they're not going anywhere. So then you stop trying to work on yourself. You're like, what's the point? They're not going anywhere. Like they said they're going to leave. They're not leaving. And then you look at the benefits and the pros and cons, where they're going to go, what they're going to do. So now you're not trying to fix your behavior. You're just pretty much annoyed at the fact that they keep calling you out on your behavior. That's the level of ego and pride that can happen when you're in PMDD. You're like, listen, yeah, I know you don't like this. Yeah, I know you don't like that. You can leave. You can even get as cocky as to be like, leave if you want to. You can tell them leave if you want to because you know that they're not going anywhere. And when you're in that place, it's a very dangerous place to be because you end up talking to your partner like a piece of crap. And what happens is triggers emotional withdrawal in the other partner. Partners will emotionally shut down. Individuals who have PMDD and who don't, they will shut down emotionally to avoid communicating with you because they know that it hurts, because they know that you can say these hurtful words. So they stop talking to you, or it gets really basic and it's very obvious. They only want to talk about, shallow things like, oh, I'm good. What's the situation with the kids? Where are we going for this? Like logistical things. When you go to try to have an intimate conversation, they're not having it with you. Because they could let their guard down, and guess what? Then you're going to talk to them like crap, and then they're going to be hurt even more. Then they're going to feel stupid for falling for it. Like, man, I can't believe I fell for that. I really thought they were going to be nice and kind and loving and all these things. And here I fell for it. And they don't trust you. So they emotionally shut down to protect themselves. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to be loving. I'm trying to do this. I understand the wall that individuals can put up once they've been verbally abused. And verbally and physically abused, when you're mixing the two, and and by physically abused, I don't mean you put your hands on them. You physically show them acts of rage. This could be for both of you, the ones who have PMDD and who don't. And then you're expecting them to just get over it. When you've seen your partner in rage, whether it's the partner that has PMDD or not, it's very traumatic. It's very traumatic. I remember seeing with my own eyes what my partner was capable of doing. And it scared the crap out of me. And I was like, and it's like that movie, Sleeping with the Enemy. Like, you are willing to wreak havoc on all of this things because you're angry and you're mad. How do I know if you're not angry and mad again that you're not going to do something worse than that? Like, the trust is not there. So what it does is it increases a level of anxiety and depression. This is what I'm dealing with a lot with the partners. So for those of you who are thinking, oh, they don't have symptoms. Yes, they do. Partners have symptoms. Biggest ones are suicidal ideations, feelings of hopelessness, anxiety, and depression. Because that negative self-talk and verbal abuse that they're feeling hopeless. They're feeling like, I don't know what else to do in this relationship. And so their mental health really, really struggles while being in this PMDD relationship. And yes, you can get in your follicular days and be all happy and give them all the love, affection, attention, validation that they're wanting. It doesn't erase the word curses that you have put over the relationship and over them. When you've pointed out their flaws and you're consistently picking at them and saying, you don't need to do this and you're doing this and I need you to do this. But then you get in your follicular phase and you're like, I feel so lucky to be with you. It's like, what are you talking about? The other day, you just told me I need to work on myself because I'm a narcissist. And now you're telling me you're lucky to be with me. Like, which one is it? It's hard to keep up. And so what happens is when you have these word curses, it really creates an identity confusion. Like, you're literally like, who does this person really think I am? who does my partner really think I am? Am I this crazy person during PMDD? I'm crazy during my luteal and I'm a maniac and I'm a psycho and I'm this and this and this? Or am I this loving partner that gives them everything that they need and they love and adore me? Or is it both? It's kind of like, is it possible for them to feel both ways about me? Because you feel like you want to believe when they're saying the good things, you want to believe them, but then the word curse is there. So it's like going over what your partner said negatively. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I can believe the positive things that are said. And so what this does is it creates you to feel defeated and disconnected because you can't really trust what your partner is saying. You can't really trust what they're telling you because it could easily change. And so I'm going to talk to you about some ways that you can break the word curses in your PMDD relationship. And again, you have to break it. You have to break it. And the first thing is identify the source. Where is this coming from? Why? Because, there's criticism, but it could be, you could say anything that's hurtful. Why specifically am I selfish? Why specifically do you think I'm a narcissist? Why specifically do you think I'm manipulative? Why specifically do you think I'm mean and nasty? Like, what is the source of this? Where is this really coming from? What do you really think about me? What do you really think about your partner? Identifying the source is really going to help you understand, is this coming from you're not trying to repeat a past experience that you've had? Meaning you've been in a previous relationship, you feel like it's going back to that same pattern and you're trying not to repeat it. So you're calling it out. Or is this a realm of like, this is what I really think about you? Because for me, even if a person apologizes and they're like, oh, I didn't really mean that, blah, blah, I still want to know, well, why did you specifically say that? Like, what is it that I did that made you feel like that was the truth? Because it matters to me. Because at some point, you believed it enough to say it. And that's the thing about word curses. You believe it enough to say it, and there's a reason for that. And the next thing is you have to challenge the negative beliefs that those words have caused you. You have to challenge them. If your partner says you're a piece of crap, or your partner says you're selfish, or you're whatever, this is where your own self-worth and self-confidence comes into play. And this is so important. If you don't have this, if that's something that you know that you need to work on, then we can work on that together. Go to the link in the show notes. We can have counseling sessions to really work on that. Because when you're in a PMDD relationship, your self-worth can slip if you're not cognitive of it. Like, so you kind of need to be in this place of consistently working on it, because for me, don't be like me. I let my self-worth slip and I didn't even know it. By the time that I figured it out, that my self-worth was going down the drain and the garbage in the trash because of the relationship because of aspects of my relationship. It's been over a year and I'm still working on it. I'm still working on rebuilding it. And so you get to this place where, had I known this before, that my self-worth was on the line, and if you're in a PMDD relationship, your self-worth is on the line, you need to be very well aware of the slips and what that looks like. And you need to challenge it. You need to be so secure in who you are, so confident and secure in who you are, and not fake positivity, not fake confidence, not like, I'm this, not based off of external things. Like, I have this money in the bank, or I have this car. I don't care about that. I'm talking about, what do you really believe about yourself? Who do you really believe that you are at the core? Because that's going to help you challenge the negative word curses that are being spoken over you. If I had not let my self-worth slip, then when those negative words were said to me, I would have been like, no, I'm not selfish. I'm not manipulative. I'm not this. I'm not that. Like, I would have been able to cognitively cancel it out, because that's what you need to do in order for a word curse to not stick. You need to cancel it out by speaking the truth of who you are. And then that's the next thing. You need to speak life into your relationship, not death. Speaking death into your relationship is saying, oh, we need to break up. We're not compatible. I don't want to be with you. Maybe I shouldn't be with you. Maybe I should be with a different PMDD partner. I need to be with a supportive PMDD partner. Look at you. You can't even show up for me. You're speaking death. You're like the grim reaper of your PMDD relationship. You're like, this relationship is dying. I'm calling it out. It's dying. It's dead. Blah, blah, blah. So you're making your partner feel horrible about the relationship. The more you're speaking it, you're feeling horrible about the relationship. You're releasing the hope, and you're doing the exact opposite. If you're trying to break a word curse, if a lot of negative things have been spoken over your relationship, you need to reverse it. You need to reverse engineer it and start speaking life and say, we're going stronger together. Yes, we had a rough patch. Yes, we had a rough couple of years. Yes, we had a rough couple of months, but we're going to be better because of it. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that we went through that journey, not regretting it, but saying, I'm so grateful that we went through that journey because we're going to be so much stronger because of it. And guess what? If we could handle this, then we could handle anything. You're going to allow your triggers and your struggles to make you stronger, make you better, and not bitter. So that's the way that you're breaking that word curse. You're not denying the fact that maybe a couple months ago, your relationship sucked. Maybe last month, your relationship sucked. This is what happens with my private clients. We work together and I know the urge is like, oh, Dr. Rose, we've worked on this before. We've done this before, blah, 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 blah. Nothing's going to work. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop putting those word curses. I don't even want you speaking that way on private sessions with me because I don't want you speaking word curses over the work. Because if you're already coming into it saying that it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And it's not going to work because the work doesn't work. It's not going to work because of the words that you're speaking. And I hope you got that. It's not going to work because of the words that you're speaking. If you genuinely do not believe something is going to work, it won't work. Your belief, your faith, what you think about something, what you say about something does matter. So if you say you're coming into a counseling session with me and you're like, I'm here because I really want to make this relationship work. And all these things, okay, we have a good chance of making it work. If you come in with your arms crossed and you're not willing to participate and you don't want to hear about any tools and you don't want to talk about anything, it's not going to work because you're not there yet. You're not there to where you are willing to speak life. You're still speaking death. And I would say if you know that you're so bitter, you're so resentful, you have so much unforgiveness, you need to shut your mouth respectfully. You need to shut your mouth because the words that you are speaking, you are going to have to live them out and you're going to pay for them later on. Maybe later on, you won't even mean it anymore. But because you put those word curses on your relationship, you're wondering why is this so hard for us to make it work? You just said it wasn't going to work. Now you're surprised when it doesn't work. You magically want something to feed your ego to like, oh, I want you to prove me wrong. No one's proving anything. No one's proving anything. What you're speaking is what you're going to see. That's how serious I want you to think about your words. What you speak about your relationship, you're going to see. If you be like, oh my gosh, this relationship is miserable. It's making me miserable. Okay. Enjoy your miserable relationship and don't be surprised when it shows up as a miserable relationship. Why are you surprised? You just spoke it. Your brain cognitively is not going to create a scenario for you that's going to go against what you're saying. It's not how it works. Your brain is looking for a direction for it to go. And the words that you speak are the GPS. So if you're saying, really believe that this relationship is going to work, your cognitive brain is going to help you get there by utilizing your reticular activating system and being open to all of these doors of opportunity to make your relationship work. A lot of times that's how you even found my podcast. That's how you found my TikTok. That's how you found my Instagram. That's how you found me on any realm, even through word of mouth, is because you got to the place where you were like, I think I can make this work. I really wish I had something that can help me make this work. A lot of times that's how a lot of you found out that you had PMDD, when you were open to being curious about premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Why do I have these triggers? Why do I want to break up every month? And again, all you have to do is put break up every month PMDD and I pop up. And that's how you found me, because you were curious and open, not because you didn't look up how to break up with my partner. You wouldn't have found me because I'm telling you how not to break up. So I want you to ask yourself, what are you really believing? What do you really think about your relationship? And speak on that. What do you really want? Don't be so scared to say what you really want just because you've been hurt in the past by being so hopeful about it. And then you feel like you're not going to get it. So you don't want to say what you really want because you think that you're not going to get it. Speak what you seek until you see what you said. speak what you seek in your relationship until you see the version of your relationship that you said it was going to be. Meaning, if you want your partner to be more supportive, you need to be speaking to them as if they are already a more supportive partner. You're not talking to them like they're not supportive. You're not talking to them like they're selfish. You're not talking to them like they're mean. You're not talking to them like they're detached. You're not talking to them like that. You're talking to them as if they are who you want them to be. Because when you do that, there's power in that. When I say speak life, it's just the same thing that you would do with your kids. If your kid came home from school and said that they failed a math exam, you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, you idiot. Oh my gosh, you couldn't get it right. No, you're going to search, you're going to dig for positive things that you can say about your child in order to make them feel more confident when they have to retake the exam the next day. And that's how it is in your PMDD relationship. They're going to have to take the test again the next day. What are you going to do? Are you going to discourage them and rub it in their face and be like, yeah, you're not supportive. Yeah. Yeah. I wish you would have handled that situation better. I think it's real messed up. Are you going to push it in their face and make them feel horrible about themselves, make them feel even worse? Or are you going to build them up and say, babe, thanks for bringing it to my attention. I know that you're trying. I know it's hard for you. You know, I love when you do this. Are you going to search for things that they do and speak life into them? Or are you going to speak death into them and be like, yeah, this is why I don't even want to be in this relationship because I can't even get the support that I need. Oh my gosh. Like, who else would suffer through this? Like, I can't believe you. Like, like you're lucky I'm with you. You're speaking death into your relationship. And a lot of times you're doing that because you haven't forgiven and you haven't released. When you have word curses that are spoken over your relationship, that are horrible, hurtful words that are spoken, you have to forgive and you have to release. And, you know, forgiving is not a one-time thing. I know this from a lot of experience. If you're going to be in a PMDD relationship, you need to be ready to forgive daily. And I know you're thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, like, who wants to do that? You're going to have to be willing to forgive daily because, again, what do I tell you? The biggest triggers that are in PMDD, the bitterness, resentment, and the unforgiveness. If you are not forgiving, every word curse that has been spoken over you and your relationship is going to stick to you and your relationship is not going to survive. It's not going to survive because you're carrying too many rocks in your backpack. I just did a presentation on this when I was teaching in San Antonio, Texas. I was teaching at a conference and I was talking about every single time, oh, this will be really good for you. You'll love this. Every single time, picture yourself, you have a backpack. The backpack is empty. Every single time that your partner says a hurtful word, you're adding a rock to the backpack. So imagine over the course of your relationship, think about how long you've been together. How many years, how many months, how many days, whatever. And every single time they said a hurtful word, you have a rock in the backpack. And you've not forgiven them because forgiveness looks like you have the rocks in your backpack. It's getting heavy, meaning you're paying attention to it because you're carrying it around with you. So eventually you get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. I need to get some of this heaviness off of me. I don't think I can keep going with all this heaviness. It's like, okay. And then you come to me with the heaviness. You're like, we're burnt out. We're on the brink of a breakup. I don't even know if, I don't know if we can even handle another day, another month, another year. Like, I don't know if this relationship is going to work. So you're coming to me. Both of you have your backpacks that are full of rocks, which are hurtful words, word curses that are spoken over your relationship. The reason why I say they're word curses is because you're carrying them with you in your relationship. Wherever you go, these word curses are following you. So you're wondering why, despite your actions, that the relationship still feels heavy. It still feels heavy because those word curses are still on your back. They're still there. So regardless if your partner acts perfectly now, if they speak perfectly now, it doesn't take the rocks out of your backpack. You get up every morning and put the backpack on. And one thing that you really need to recognize is actions don't make the words go away. So you know how they have that phrase, you can't outwork a bad diet? You can't out action hurtful words. You can't do a whole bunch of good deeds and be nice and supportive and all this and think that it's going to take away the hurtful words. No, the words are still there. They're still there. And so what happens when you come to me and you're saying, we have issues with this, we have issues with that. I get to the root of it. And the root of it, a lot of times, are the word curses that are spoken over your relationship. And the way to take a rock out of the backpack has to be one by one. This is why the work that we do is so important. And it's not a one-stop shop, because a lot of you are coming to me with years full of rocks in your backpack. And you're thinking one 90-minute session is just going to cure the whole thing. No, it's not. It's not. I would never tell you that. So if you're coming to work with me, you need to be committed to working with me consistently, because a lot of times if you start working with me and then you go back and you stop working with me, the progress that we made, it kind of reverses a little bit. It's kind of like we need to empty your backpack, and that takes time. And that's why I say it's my trauma transformational tools, because trauma is deeply rooted, because sometimes a rock that is a word curse that is in your backpack, although you're carrying it in your relationship, it's not even about your relationship. It didn't even stem from there. A lot of it stemmed from childhood or previous relationships. But until you empty that rock from your backpack, you're going to be carrying it into any relationship that you're with. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to be with this partner, I'm going to be with somebody else, you're going to have the same rocks. And it's going to feel heavy again. It may initially feel lighter because you're like, oh, I'm with the new person. When it wears off, it's going to be heavy again. You are going to be the common denominator. And this is the partner that has PMDD and doesn't. And so what it looks like when you take one rock out, we really uncover the rock. We recognize, is this word curse that has been spoken over you or your relationship, is this from childhood or is it from this relationship? If it's from this relationship, what can we do to heal it? You can't heal what you don't reveal. And we do it one rock at a time until you forgive, and then we release it. And then you'll feel lighter. But for a lot of times, the work is not done with that one rock. It's never, when you get to the point where you've gone off on PMDD rage and you've done it's never about one hurtful word that your partner has spoken. It's not a one-time thing. Like, oh my gosh, my partner said this hurtful word. It's something deeper, and it's been repetitive. And you carried it and you carried it and you carried it. And so what I want to let you know, as you're going through this journey, the first step that you can do is really identify the word curses. Be mindful of your words, basically, moving forward, because think about if you're carrying around the backpack, you don't want to add to it. You don't want to add more word curses. And if this is something that you know that you need help with, again, we're going to be working through this all month. So go join the PMDD Power Couples Group Counseling membership, and we're going to be working on unpacking the backpack full of hurtful words so that you get rid of them once and for all. Because you're not supposed to be in this relationship carrying around this heaviness. It's not sustainable. You're going to burn yourself out, especially when you have PMDD and you're in your luteal phase. You don't have energy to do that. I remember feeling so heavy. Like I felt almost delusional, crazy. I was like, I don't know. Everything feels harder. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up, because it was so heavy. And what I'm offering you is freedom, lightness. Go back to the core of why you're with your partner, why you want to be in this relationship, who you really are. Get that self-worth back. It's a journey. But the first step is to stop putting more rocks in your backpack. Don't put rocks in your partner's backpack. Don't accept any more rocks than yours. And again, if that's something that you know that you need help with, go to the link in the show notes, go to inlovewithpmdd.com. And until next time, we got this. I love you. I hope these tools help you and your PMDD partner. If you have not enrolled to get the course, My Partner Has PMDD, now what? Then you want to make sure that you are one of the first 12 individuals that gets the course for the month of December to get that complimentary private session with me. And then after that, it'll go back to regular price without the private sessions. But what this course is going to do for you is give your partner all of the tools that they need on how to be a supportive PMDD partner. What does that look like? I always say that your partner doesn't need more information. They need more implementation. They need more transformational tools. And this is the program for you. So I'm looking forward to you getting those tools in the program. And until next episode, we got this.